What's going on, Broncos country? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, live on a Tuesday afternoon for a team that no longer has a kicker on its roster. So we're going to break down a little bit more of the Brandon McManus news, plus we got some rumors on who could be replacing him. But let's start things off with another piece of news, because I woke up today thinking, there is just nothing happening with the Broncos, and Sean Payton said, hold my beer. We'll make not one, but two moves in one day. So Mike Kliss reporting per wire, Broncos have signed former Packers nose tackle / defensive tackle Tyler Lancaster. 6'3", 313 pounds, started 21 games over 4 years, 2018 to 2021 with the Packers, was with the Raiders last offseason. He got hurt in the offseason, so he did not play a single game for Vegas last year. But here are the stats for Tyler Lancaster, in case you are unfamiliar with the former Northwestern Wildcat. He played in 16 games for Green Bay back in 2021, 31 tackles, 3 tackles for loss. He only has 1.5 career sacks, came in 2019. He was a rotational defensive tackle for Green Bay, primarily playing on the inside, right? That one technique maybe being flexed out to 3 technique a little bit here. But I think Tyler Lancaster steps onto this team, and he is immediately starting, right? Sorry, Jonathan Harris, but this was sort of the one last spot that needed to be addressed on the defensive side of things. You added Zach Allen in free agency already. You added DJ Jones in free agency last year. And I think Tyler Lancaster is going to come in here and start for this team at the other defensive tackle spot next to DJ Jones and improve the trenches for Denver, which it wasn't abysmal last year, but it never felt like the Broncos' run game was going to help turn this game around, right? Was going to help provide a spark for this defense or really suffocate an opposing offensive run game. It wasn't the worst in the NFL, but there was definitely room for improvement. And Lancaster, with his size, he's going to come up here and he's going to make life a lot easier for the linebackers. Like talking to you, Drew Sanders, you want to get into the backfield and make some big explosive blitzes and pass rushing plays? Tyler Lancaster is going to do his job to occupy guards and tackles so that the linebackers can feast in the backfield on running backs and quarterbacks. Now, this next question, the answer is not Tyler Lancaster. He only has 1.5 career sacks through 4 or 5 seasons now. But who do you think leads this team in sacks in 2023? Is it Randy Gregory? Is it Baron Browning? Is it someone else? It is open for business right now. I'm very curious to see what the number one response will be. If Gregory's healthy, it should and probably will be him. But that's a big if. So don't sleep on Baron Browning. Maybe Drew Sanders as a rookie. I could see this team's leading sack getter having like 6 or 7 sacks and it being a pass rush by committee approach. So predict it down in the comments section. Now, the other news that broke this morning, which we did a video on earlier today, Adam Schefter, of course, reporting that the Broncos informed kicker Brandon McManus that they would be moving on from him. He was the last member of Denver's Super Bowl 50 squad. So let's look at some Brandon McManus stats here and kind of make sense of this move. It comes as a bit of a surprise, only because if they were going to make this move, I thought they would have done it back in the peak of free agency, right? In March, if you wanted to go sign a kicker like Matt Gay. Instead, they wait a little bit. And I understand after the season he had last year, 77 completion, 77 field goal percentage, isn't all that exciting. And for Sean Payton, I think he's looking at this through a couple of lenses. One, the cap savings. $2.5 million, that's not really going to, make or break much. But $2.5 million for a player that underwhelmed last year, for a special teams unit that has been disastrous, that's putting it lightly, the last 2 seasons. There's been a complete overhaul in special teams, right? Denver got a new punter, a new long snapper, a new special teams coordinator, and then they got that special teams coordinator, Ben Kotwika, a new assistant. So the last piece that had to be moved out was McManus. And I think Sean Payton decided, you know what, let's kind of flip the page a little bit. Let's move on from Super Bowl 50. Let's start fresh. Let's get a clean slate for the Sean Payton era. And the timing maybe couldn't be better for McManus or for Denver to move on from McManus with $2.5 million in savings. So you could add that to the pros column. And also, just not good last year, right? No one can really argue otherwise. It was statistically his second or third worst season in the NFL. So with McManus sort of already hitting that decline, I can kind of see. Now, the only question I really have is why now? Why May 23rd? Did McManus, come in the morning and was he late for something? I don't really know. But I just thought if you wanted to move on from McManus, maybe this will be designated as a post-June 1st move, and that will save some more money. And maybe by the time you're watching this, they've already done that. But I do kind of wonder, why not move on from him back in March when you moved on from several other players, right? Like Ronald Darby and Chase Edmonds. Why wait till May to start your kicker search? I thought that was a bit puzzling. Okay, now on to some kicker rumors here. So Aaron Wilson tweeting out, Broncos working out veteran kicker Brett Maher on Wednesday per a league source. Now, I should have mentioned this for Tyler Lancaster, who had no connection to Sean Payton. So that was a George Payton signing. That's the only way we're going to differentiate who got the signing done, right? Was there a player who had a connection to Sean Payton and the Saints? It's a Sean Payton move. No connection to New Orleans? George Payton move. Brett Maher, he's got a connection to New Orleans and the Saints because back in 2021, he was Sean Payton's kicker down in the Big Easy. He had a nice 16 for 18 year. Like, he wasn't called upon too much, but when he was, he delivered 88% field goal percentage, a long of 42. So Brett Maher didn't have to do a whole ton for New Orleans back then. But let's actually pull up his 2022 stats to show you guys what he did with Dallas last year, because this is the guy who got the yips, right? This is the kicker last season who unfortunately missed 4 straight extra points in the playoff game against the Bucs, 5 straight if you go back the week prior. So he was pretty accurate for Dallas, right? 91% field goal percentage. He went 29 or 28 of 32, whatever the math is. But it was the playoffs yips that really got Brett Maher. So we got some rumors, maybe an early front runner for the new kicker up at Mile High. Before we get on out of here, I just kind of wanted to have a State of the Union for Denver sports, if you will, for the second half of today's show for a couple of reasons. One, I woke up today wanting to do this on today's episode, and then Denver made not 1 but 2 roster moves, so that kind of cucked it. But I figured, you know what? After the Nuggets took down the Lakers, where does the Broncos stand in Denver sports pecking order? Like, it's still the NFL. It's always going to be number 1. But when is Denver going to get back to, when are the Broncos going to get back to the top of their respective professional sports league? So if you are pulling for the Nuggets to win the NBA Finals, hit that thumbs up button, like today's video. Let's show Joker, Jamal Murray, and the rest of the guys a lot of support here from the Broncos Breakdown. So hit that thumbs up button if you are pulling for Denver to hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy. Now, with that being said, this is what the conversation I'm looking to have is. When will the Broncos return to the top, right? When will they be hoisting their respective championship trophy? It's not a long drought. It's, going back to 2015, but they only have 1 winning season since then and 7, 6, whatever it is now, straight losing seasons. So we're going to run through some Denver sports, just overall talk and buzz in just a moment. But we got a great deal going on with our friends at Fanatics still. The 2-shirt combo deal, chatsports.com/DEN combo. That link's in the comments and the description of today's video. Now, Denver, I don't want to jinx it, because I don't want to be the guy that ruins it for everyone else. But I'm feeling confident about this right here. The Nuggets are going to win the NBA Finals. I'm going to say that out loud for you guys. I know you're going to blame me if the Nuggets lose, but I will do that for you right now and say, you don't have to say it. You don't have to worry about jinxing it. I'll do it for you. The Nuggets are going to win the NBA Finals. And if they do, when they do, 2 straight years of a Denver team winning a championship, right? You had the Avs last year. And now you got the Nuggets, the kings of the West, going to the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history. And they have the best player in the NBA in the Joker, and he was just robbed of another MVP. And so now we have the question of the conversation. You've got the Avs rocking and rolling, right, barring their premature playoff exit this year, but you can't win them all every year. They're going to be good, and they're going to be consistently good for a long time with this core unit with McKinnon and the rest of the crew. And now the Nuggets show no sign of slowing down, right? They're going to be right there in the West for years to come. So when are the Broncos going to get back to the top? Well, they definitely took a step in the right direction this offseason when they acquired Sean Payton, right? Because Sean Payton, his first season in New Orleans, he took the Saints to the NFC Championship game, lost to the Chicago Bears, but he got them to 10-6 in year one. And they were a 3-win team the season prior. So if there's any man for the job to do a 180 real fast, it's Sean Payton. Like, he has majored in this, and he's got a doctorate in turning teams around very quickly. So I'm a student of history. I love history. So history would say, after the Avs won in 2022, I think the Nuggets are going to win in 2023. Who's winning in 2024, right? Are we going to have the Nuggets or the Avs run it back? Or is it going to be the Broncos or the Rockies' turn? I don't think it's going to be the Rockies. I hate to pour salt on the wound, but we all know this. It's not a fun movie right now, the Colorado Rockies. The last time they were above 500 at the All-Star break was 2018. Remember, they made the postseason that year. They beat the Cubs in extra innings. But since then, it's been bleak. It's been losing season, and losing season, and so on and so forth. So if that's the case, then one would think, okay, well, we can kind of rule out the Rockies, and by process of elimination, Denver Broncos, you're next up. And we'll have to wait and see, because Sean Payton would be the man to have a quick turnaround. So let me know. Are the Broncos playoff bound in year one with Sean Payton? Yes or no? What are your thoughts? Sound off down in the comment section below. If you think Sean Payton is going to turn this 5-win 2022 Denver Broncos roster into a playoff team in his first season at Mile High.